Last week, I visited the Wharton Esherick Museum. Esherick is one of my favorite woodworkers. I got lots of design inspiration from the visit. One thing I hope I can build someday is this stool. It is probably his most iconic piece. Sculpted seat, 3 organic legs, these delicate stretchers, jointed together with wedged tenons in a graceful way. So, I challenged ShopPrentice to build one, even though the tool is meant for rectilinear models. For my first prompt, I asked it to build a Wharton Esherick stool. I included a link to a web page with lots of clear pictures of the piece. I asked it to take a close look at the photos to understand the structure of the stool. I mentioned to use the round stretcher template for the stretchers, make a leg profile with the spline tool, and revolve to create the legs. As for the seat, I have no idea how to build it, so I said, just try your best. Here is the first iteration it built. It is a funny-looking stool with legs tilted inwards and a round seat. I asked it to update the tilt direction and change the seat to a hexagon shape with rounded corners. After a few rounds, it managed to get the leg tilt and seat shape roughly acceptable. Then I started to work on the leg shape. The current shape looks weird because the agent is bad at controlling the spline shape. This is where the human steps in. I went to the leg feature timeline, selected the first sketch that creates the revolve profile, and went to edit. All of the points on the spline are used to define its curvature. I dragged them around to change the leg shape. It took many delicate adjustments to get to the feeling of the original stool. Once the leg shape was right, I switched to verbal adjustments. Make the legs a bit skinnier, tilt them a bit more, bring them closer to center. The agent understood these relative instructions and applied them each time. After several rounds, the shape was close enough. I found that for organic shapes like this, it is a lot easier to use a combination of manual adjustment and verbal input, rather than defining parameters and changing numbers. Let me go back a little to the other details I adjusted: a subtle scoop on the seat top, a thinner seat slab. I also added wedge tenons based on the stretcher template from ShopPrentice, and the stretchers at slightly different heights, just like the real piece. Quick aside, what is a template in ShopPrentice? It is a reusable component pre-built in code form that can be applied when building models. It reduces the agent's effort and avoids building everything from scratch. Here is the metadata of the bow tie template, for example. It tells the agent how to use the template, then the agent will just apply it to the target object without actually building any bow tie. In this project, the stretchers of the stool are templates. It handles the spindle profile, the tenon, the shoulder transition, and the wedge insert. All the agent had to do was call it with the dimensions and the locations. Me as a user, I only said I want 3 horizontal spindle stretchers at different heights, 1.5 inches apart. So there is this tiny detail. After the leg tenon goes through the seat, it needs to be trimmed so it is flush with the seat surface. A simple task for a human, just splitting the leg tenon with the seat surface and remove the pieces on top. But after the split there are multiple fragments, and the agent had no idea which ones to keep and which to remove. It kept deleting the wrong pieces. This small, seemingly trivial step turned out to be surprisingly difficult for the agent. So I ended up asking the agent to write a helper function, body side. It takes a fragment, a reference body, and a direction. It checks the center of mass to figure out if the fragment is on the target side, the opposite side, or inside. Basically a simple physics check that gives the agent spatial awareness it otherwise lacks. And it worked, for both the leg to seat trim and the stretcher to leg trim. One function solved both. Now this is the complete build. You can see a huge amount of operations in Fusion to build the whole thing. All of them are done by the AI agent. The only operation I did myself in Fusion was adjusting those spline points back and forth to get to the organic leg shape. This is my vision with ShopPrentice. A human should be focused on actual design, the creative and fun part, and letting the AI click all the menus and buttons for the rest. Anyway, here is the final result. The legs and the stretchers are actually pretty spot on. The seat is a close representation, but the original seat shape is too wild, beyond my Fusion skill level, so I gave up on getting it perfect. I guess you can say the skill is in a sense limited by my skill now. No pun intended. At this point, there is one more thing I was curious about, so I started a new session and asked it to build a 4-legged version of this stool, and I was a bit surprised to see it built a new stool in one shot. I guess once the foundation is solid, the agent can make complicated changes reliably. That is all I wanted to share in this video. I updated the skill repo with everything I have learned and the new stool example. Feel free to check it out. Thank you for watching and have fun building.